Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode, our end of the week episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. Fruit Loop, what you know?
Did you know that ketchup leaves the bottle at a measured speed?
Really?
It leaves the bottle at a rate of 25 miles per year.
Per year?
Per year.
Yeah, you know, I used to work when I was a teenager in a restaurant, and my old boss told me, and I think a lot of people know this now, but before the internet, this was like, whoa. On the 57 bottle or like on the Heinz bottle, if you hit the 57 on the glass bottle, that makes it come out a lot faster.
Yeah, you stick a knife up in there.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
get it come out.
Sure.
You stick a knife and be like,
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Yep.
So, well, that's interesting. It's always good to hear your little interesting
it's going to be on Jeopardy, I'm telling you.
That's awesome. Yeah, they're taking notes. Pretty Lies.
Keep it down.
Yes,
Write
yes.
it down.
All right. So we want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Too Cool T-Shirt Quilts. You can go to toocooltshirtquilts.com/Pretty Lies and Alibis. Check them out. They'll know we sent you. We appreciate their support for over a year now. Yeah. And what can they do, Fruit Loop?
They can take your T-shirts and make them into a quilt that is too cool.
Good deal. I love my quilt. Love my pillows. Love it all. It's a little dark in here, but I don't need bright lights right now. Like, I'm all screwed up. My whole body, my brain, everything. It's just
you in the dark.
I tell you what, man, I need sage for this family. I'm going to line everybody up. I'm going to sage everybody down the line.
Yeah.
Well, I took my grandma for x-rays because, she fell a couple of days ago. Luckily, she's good. She doesn't have any fractures, just a little slow moving made me nervous. So that's really good.
So, Grammy takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
I tell you what, she told me, she said, I'm like a cockroach. I'm legs up and then I just scurry away. She's fun. Man, but this is so pitiful. Like we're all having a hard time, but she lost her daughter on Mother's Day. And I just, man, talk about breaking my heart in two. There's not many things that just rips my heart out, but seeing her cry.
Yep.
Oh boy. Anyways, let's talk about something happier. How are you?
I'm good.
How's your foot?
It's there.
It's there?
It's there. It's hanging out.
Well, that's good. It's better than it not being there.
Yeah.
Things could be worse, all right?
Yeah, I've been able to put some weight on it and walk a little bit on it. And
that's good.
So,
yeah, I'm ready to go hiking.
Getting there. Me too.
All right.
Me too.
Did you watch the hearing today?
Yes.
Yeah, it was late as usual. I mean, I wasn't shocked. So they came on. We waited longer than the actual hearing took.
Yeah.
But so this was to decide if they're going to move her trial to January. And, I've been thinking, Archibald said it today. In other words, she's not going to go. She wants her speedy trial, right? So I'm sitting here trying to think, why would you tie your hands behind your back? I mean, look, it seems from what we know, and we don't know the half of it apparently, but the evidence is pretty overwhelming. Just what we know that this was planned stuff, right?
Yep.
Do you think that there is a chance that she is just trying to trip her attorneys up, not give them time they need to prepare so that she sets up an appeal for ineffective counsel lately? I mean, look, I could be out in left field with this. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I can't figure it out.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't, honestly, I have no clue.
Yeah. So anyways, let's get started with the hearing. We can go ahead and talk about the obvious. Look, I need to go to the pokey for 3 months so I can figure out how to do my hair. Because look, say what you will about Lori, her hair looked good today.
She using them pencils or something, or the bars, maybe some metal bars.
I said the bars, but you know what my contact in prison said women will often do is they will get 2 or 3 tampons and tie their hair around them.
Use that to wrap around it, yeah.
But look, I'm just going to say, you see plain Jane flat here. She had the waves going on. I know our listeners hate it.
Yeah.
But and she had on a different top.
Yep.
She had on a black kind of V-neck top, whatever.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the hearing. a couple of things before we get started, and I want to give a big shout out to Lori Hellis for putting this in her latest newsletter. I've
Yep.
tweeted and Facebook that, but I can do it again. Idaho Code 19 3501, it provides that the court must order that a prosecution or indictment be dismissed if not brought to trial within 6 months, unless good cause to the contrary is shown. The state bears the burden of demonstrating that good cause exists for delay of a trial beyond the 6 month statutory prescribed time period. So that's going to come into play as we talk about the hearing. And then the other thing is that the court adapted a balancing test in which the conduct of the defendant and the prosecution were to be weighed and identified four primary factors the court should evaluate in determining whether a particular defendant has been deprived of his speedy right trial. Number one, the length of the delay. Two, the reason for the delay. Number three, whether the defendant asserted the right to a speedy trial. And four, the prejudice to the defendant. That's Clark 135, Idaho 255 at 258. So thanks to Lori Hellis for doing all that legwork. We appreciate it, girlfriend. If you don't subscribe to her newsletter, do, because
Yeah, she's good.
her and Scott Reich are my go-to people that when I have a question or I don't understand something, they always do an amazing job. And she really answers a lot of those questions in newsletter form that we have. So check her out.
Yep.
All right. So for the state, we had Tanya Rawlings, Rob Wood, and Lindsay Blake. They were in attendance for the state. Jim Archibald and John Thomas were on for Lori, and Pryor was actually in on this hearing for Chad. So, as we know, her trial is currently scheduled to begin October the 11th. And Rawlings said they will rely on the motion they filed with the court for most of their arguments, but they did have a couple of brief arguments to make. And she said the court can find good cause to continue Lori's trial. The defense acknowledges in their filing the mountain of evidence to review in the case. Mitigation experts need time to review evidence and prepare their argument beyond the 6 month limit that she says she wants. And to continue this trial, it lessens the burden on the defense to be ready and decreases the chances of an appeal. So,
yeah. So they feel that alone arises to a legal excuse under State versus Clark, justifying a brief continuance, especially with a case of this complex. That word is weird.
complexity. There you go.
You look at words and you're like, oh, wait, that's not spelled right. Oh, no.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh, I used to do that with the simplest words in school too. I would
Yeah.
sit there for 5 minutes and say, "Did I spell this wrong?"
Yeah. It
That
just
was
looks
before we
weird.
had spell check.
Exactly. But that includes conspiracy charges and a co-defendant. The court found these cases are properly joined and denied Chad's request to sever. With his trial set for January, it would create an improper severance if her trial isn't continued. Yeah, that's what don't make any sense, and everybody's asking that question.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest. I was trying to find that answer of kind of what I think Lori Hellis did touch on it in that newsletter. I don't quite remember what was said, but you think about it, Boyce has really got a big decision to make because if he moves Lori, I bet the farm she'll appeal after her conviction. I bet if he moves Chad's gonna appeal.
Yeah, we're gonna hear Pryor.
So it's kind of like, I know the general consensus, I think, is that she will go in January. I don't know.
Yeah.
We talked about it in Vegas, but it's kind of a blur, to be honest.
Well, if you don't sever it, that means they're together, right?
Well, if you don't sever it, then somebody's got to move. And I
Exactly.
just kind of think when you're dealing with constitutional rights of a speedy trial, it may be less risky to move Chad.
Yeah.
Because at least that way it's not a constitutional right that's really because he waived his right.
Yep.
And Pryor is on record saying we're ready in October. This is back before Chad's trial was scheduled, though.
Yeah.
So he was saying, I'll be ready by October. So I don't know. I'm not a lawyer or a judge, but it seems to me if anybody's going to be moved, it's probably safer to move Chad.
Yeah. Yep. So the issue of judicial economy and also consistent verdicts justify the brief delay of the trial date. And as we said, Chad waived his right to a speedy trial, and they'll be ready in October. She said there's been no filing by Pryor, but he has expressed this. They feel it's better to move Lori to January than force Chad to present his case earlier than what is scheduled than what it's scheduled for. Um, so I wouldn't want to be Boyce. Like this is like a mega case.
It really is, and I think honestly, maybe, the safest, and it stinks for the families and for the witnesses and for everybody that has a hand in making this trial go forward. But, I don't know. I mean, it's like, does he just keep 2 trials, and then by the time hers wraps up, you hit the reset button, have Christmas, and then you're right back in Boise doing the same thing. I think from a spectator point of view, it might be interesting because you may have different arguments if the trials are severed.
Yeah.
They may go in a completely different direction of defense if these trials are severed, to where if they're not,
Yeah. And
so
then
I
that's
don't
the
know.
other thing is picking jurors.
You gotta do that twice. You're gonna
They've
have to get, like,
already, yeah,
4 times the jury pool, I'm sure. I mean, it's gonna
yeah,
have to be a huge jury pool.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
they've already
all
complained about that already. So
dude, this is going to be a disaster.
yeah, yeah. So Boyce says there's a couple of protections for the right to a speedy trial. One is under Idaho Code 193501, as well as constitutional rights, and wants to know if the balancing the courts would use in her arguments, whether they apply to the statute, the Constitution, or both.
So she says both, based on Supreme Court's adoption of Barker versus Windingo standard under State versus Clark. So for constitutional purposes, there's a time frame that's different. And she noted that in her motion that cites what constitutes a delay. She says there's case law in Idaho that separates a defendant's statutory right versus a constitutional violation, which was recently heard in State versus Clark, that held there's a different standard for determining if a constitutional violation has occurred. And Archibald said he will look. Can I just say it? He's a good. I like him. He's just on point. And I kind of hinted some frustration with Archibald without him saying it, because he's like, we've told her, she doesn't want to waive it. We respect what I mean. It's like, without being frustrated, I kind of got like the spidey senses he's frustrated. He says he will rely on the response he filed, but wanted to note that they talked to Lori frequently, as recently as yesterday, and she acknowledges she has her right to a speedy trial and she's not going to waive that right. He says they'll be respectful of the court's decision, whether it's an October or January trial. She understands that the defense is working hard to get caught up. Like you said, the state's been on this case for 2 years. She's been in jail for 2 years. The defense team has not. And he says they're doing all they can. And Boyce says that Archibald has been appointed for some time, but Thomas more recent. And so Archibald comes in and says, according to the new rule, the defendant isn't entitled to her full public funded team, including co-counsel, until after her arraignment, which was actually a month ago today, I think. Time flies. So Boyce asked Rawlings if she had anything else to say, and the defense response, she said, was appropriate given Lori's wishes, and that she understands that Archibald and Thomas are in a unique position to be put in this early in the case, but they feel there's a number of outstanding issues, such as DNA testing of evidence that was put off until the cases were brought together again. And because these were properly joined as noted by the court, they feel it's more equitable to continue Lori's trial in January. And that's a really good point. You would think with a death penalty case and all the murder charges and all the conspiracy charges that she would want to wait as long as possible. There's a strategy here. I just can't figure it out.
But is it her?
No, that's my point, is like, I don't think she could think of this stuff on her own. I don't think Archibald's saying, hey, let's go in October. You wonder who's feeding her this stuff. If it is something that they're trying to do to trip the whole process up that would benefit her maybe after a conviction.
What if it was Means before he was let go?
I don't know. He tweeted today. After her, I'm sorry, let me pull him up on Twitter.
While you're looking, you got it? Okay.
Oh yeah, I got it right here.
Right.
He said, whoa. Actually, did he delete it? Wait, I think he deleted it, but I screenshotted it.
Uh-oh.
Wait. Okay, so what were you gonna do?
I was just going to go ahead and read the rest of what I had to go over here.
Oh, go ahead.
So Boyce will take the issue under advisement and reread the state's brief response. And he will respond, since the issue involves important constitutional and statutory rights, he doesn't want to rule today. He wants to balance all the factors, so he will issue a written decision, and it won't be a long delay until that comes out.
Okay, so he did not delete. He actually commented under East Idaho News. He may have deleted it. I don't know. It says the Sixth Amendment guarantees the rights of criminal defendants, including the right to trial without unnecessary delay, the right to a lawyer. And then he says, it's waived or not. She has not waived. Let's not deny another constitutional protected right. So a Twitter user said, you're just trying to stay relevant. And so Mean says, advocating for the undesirable person that the rule of law, our Constitution, applies is a true test for persons like us. It applies to all or it's hollow. Accusation of any criminal behavior is irrelevant to the application of the Sixth Amendment.
You know what's funny? That makes more sense now than he did before.
Yeah, we're going to take a pot shot, but you did, and I agree. But, the other thing, too, is that tweet came really quickly after her hearing, so he's watching.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, most definitely. That's why I don't know if maybe she's just going off of something he said before.
You never know. I mean, I think she can talk to anybody other than the co-defendant about case strategy, I think. It's not against the rule.
But I think he was ruled, he can't talk to her, though, right?
I don't think he can, but
we covered that.
It doesn't mean that somebody somewhere and getting information, not from Mark Mean necessarily, but from somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
Feeding it, because I just don't see her coming off,
Well, here's the thing that's confusing. She wants to be at trial with Chad. He waived his right for a speedy trial, but she's not waiving hers.
It's almost like she's trying to force the court's hand one way or the other. And in the end, she's going to appeal either way.
Yeah.
She's going to appeal and say, ineffective counsel. I only had till October. They didn't do a good job representing me. Now I got death. Or she's going to say, you didn't give me the speedy trial. You infringed on my constitutional rights. I want an appeal and I want to walk out of here. I just see that's how whoever's calculating this, maybe I'm way off, but that's kind of what I theorize.
Yeah.
She's forcing them.
Oh, yeah. So Rawlings says Pryor is here and they know his position based on attorney meetings, but ask that he make a statement to get it on record. And Boyce asks, and Pryor says their preference is to leave Chad's trial set to begin in January. They had a second motion to argue that was filed under seal, and that hearing was closed. Boo.
It was a really quick hearing. It really wasn't anything earth-shattering.
Do we know if they met prior to that, though?
Prior to what now?
Do we know if they were meeting before that?
No, they didn't say that they had anything off the record. I don't think so. It could have just been, getting everybody there or something. They didn't indicate they had anything before.
Well, I know they were trying to make sure the clerk was on. It was kind of delayed on that.
Yeah, and he couldn't hear her, but he got a message. So I don't know, but look, I'm going to tell you right now, we ain't seen the half of this yet. I think there's going to be motion after motion after motion. There's going to be stuff that's got to be argued that, like she said, has been put off. Lori's fresh out of the mental hospital, back in jail. There's a lot of loose ends that have got to be tied up. But if she wants to tie one hand behind her back, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you, when you are convicted, it's really hard sometimes to have a successful appeal. And it's going to be, I know Scott Reich's, and we said this, his point is it's very risky to move her to January because you chance that it is a successful appeal and then she walks out of jail.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's just going to be interesting to watch. I just think that ultimately Lori wants to be in that courtroom with Chad.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't for the life of me understand, why does she want this so, why does she want it in 6 months?
I don't know.
It doesn't benefit her in any way. A mitigation specialist needs 6 months to try to sort out some kind of an argument.
It would be interesting to know if they think there's another something coming and they're going to exit the world. Well, it was July and August last year, right?
Yeah, that came and went.
Yeah. So, I don't
They've
know.
lost their crew. I'm sure Zulima won't conjure up earthquakes anymore, and they're on
Mhm.
their own. So the portal's got a glitch, and they're still in jail 2 years later.
Yeah.
Almost 2 years for Chad. He'd be 2 years next month.
Yeah.
2 years anniversary of Pretty Lies and Alibis next month. Holy
That's
moly.
crazy.
That is insane.
Wow. This went
That's
fast.
awesome. All right, guys, we are done for the weekend. We're both just going to take some time and chill tomorrow. And I got like laundry to do. And I'm just going to hang with my kids when they get out of school and just maybe go walk downtown, just get out. Like, I got to get out of this house, dude.
Do it. Yeah.
Yes. I hope your doctor's appointment goes well. And we will see you guys soon. So have a good weekend. See you Monday.